you guys decided to join us tonight. We are thrilled to be able to have Jonay from Scentsy Corporate come and train. I had the honor of hearing her present, and she is phenomenal, and she is full of great information. And she is so kind after hours to come on and to train us up. So with that, Jonay, I would love to give you the floor.
Well, thank you for that awesome introduction, first of all. And hello, everyone. I'm going to screen share, but give me just a minute, because once you start screen sharing on Zoom, everything moves around, your controls, your chat. So I want to make sure that I have my chat box opened and I have everyone where I can see them. And then I'll actually kick off. Yeah, see, where's my chat? Hold on one second. I'm not really quite sure where it went. Okay, well, usually like the toolbox is kind of on the top, but I'm not seeing the toolbox to, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can open the chat before. Maybe that will work. Okay, there we go. I got the chat, got you all. Hello, everyone. Okay, so our topic tonight is all about getting business on the books. And I'm not sure if you guys were familiar with what we were going to be talking about tonight, or if they're just kind of like surprised and delighting you with the topic. But I am actually very excited to share specifically about this topic, because I do find that this is something that people wonder all the time as a consultant in the business is, how do I get business on the books? How do I make sure I'm setting myself up for success by having business in the future? And if that is something you've wondered yourself, I would love for you to put in the chat and tell us, have you wondered yourself, how do I get business? Like, how do I get parties? How do I get gatherings? How do I grow my business and make sure I have something on the books for the future? If that's you, put it in the chat. While you guys are doing that, let me just give myself a little short introduction. I know Tracy kind of set me up a little bit, but if you're not familiar with me, I am on the consultant training and development team at home office. My name is Jonay Greenfield, and I know it looks like Jonette, but it's just because my parents wanted to torture me for my entire life. But I have been at Scentsy now for almost 2 years, and I absolutely love it. I have a huge passion for educating and empowering Scentsy consultants. And so I'm very excited to help you tonight. I hope that you are able to learn new things, and that through this, you're able to develop your skills and skill set so that you can continue to grow your business. Before I came to Scentsy, I was actually a consultant in another company. So I love to share that just because I want you to know that I come with a perspective of knowing where you are, being in your shoes before. So I think that's a little important to remember when I share advice or share things that sometimes I talk about, my prior experience, and that's just simply because I've been where you are, and I hope that that is something that will help you tonight understand different things that I share, that I'm really am coming from a perspective of, I've been there, I've done that, and here's the way. Not always, it's not the only way, but here's what I've found to be helpful. So before we kick off the actual training, I would love to do a little shout out. I would love for you to put in the chat and shout out your leader. This could be your director. You might have, I know we have a few superstar directors with us tonight and that have gathered together for this. So this might be your director and your superstar director. It might just be your superstar director. It might just be your director. Whoever it is, give them a little shout out in the chat, because I want you guys to know just how amazing, just how special, and what a blessing it is, quite honestly, to have a leader that is willing to invest time and energy and effort into you, into training and developing you. That is not always the case for everybody that joins any team or any company. And so it is an incredible blessing that you guys all have amazing leadership. So huge kudos to them. Huge shout out to all of the SSDs and star directors and directors that gathered you all here tonight. And then I want you guys to do a little shout out for you. First of all, give yourself a little pat on the back because you're here. I'm always a big, I'm always just aware that Average consultants don't typically get on a call. These are people that are training call like this. These are people that are invested in learning how to grow, learning how to develop. And so I am recognizing you here tonight and all of the different things that come into play for you having to show up on this call. I know it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to rearrange things in your schedule. Maybe you have kiddos at home and you had to like get them all tucked into bed or get them situated with dinner. Maybe you had to do that with a significant other, a spouse. And there's a lot of things that can go into play. And it's not lost on me that it's not as easy as clicking a link and hopping on a call, that you are taking time out tonight. And I see that and I admire that. And I want to just do a big shout out to everybody that is on tonight, because this is so amazing that you are willing to invest in yourself, into learning and growing and developing. I'm a believer that learners are earners. And so I believe that you spending the time learning tonight, you are going to earn in one way or another in your business. It will come back to you in some form or fashion because you took the time to invest your time with us tonight. So thank you. Huge shout out to all of you. Okay. So next, okay, I forgot to look at the chat. Yes, learners are earners. Yeah, I hope I see everyone. I can only see like 6 people because I have my screen share on, but the people I see, I wanted to see you patting your back. So I know that you guys are giving yourself that pat on the back that you deserve. Okay, so first, before we talk about getting business on the books, what is a booking, right? Like, let's talk about that. What is a booking? You might be a brand new consultant. You might be a consultant that's been here for 10, 12, 16 years. But it's important to remember and to kind of just take it back to the roots of what is a booking. A booking in its simplest form is gathering multiple orders for one party order. Okay, that's really it. That's all it is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but I want you to remember that a booking is ensuring business for yourself for tomorrow. I have never heard of anyone going out of business when they had a party on their calendar. I have never heard of somebody wanting to give up or quit when they had bookings on their calendar. So if you want to keep the open sign up on your window of business, for example, like let's just for metaphor, let's just say you're open for business. You want to keep that open sign open. One of the best things for you to do is get in the habit and the best practice of booking parties in your business. And parties can take on so many shapes and forms, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So don't get completely turned away when I say the word party, because we're going to talk about all of the different shapes and forms that can take on. But just, I want you to remember the importance of, if you want to stay open for business, then bookings have to be a priority. And one of the things that I found that serves people well in this industry is if you can put on a mindset of bookings is part of the business. And it's not only something I have to do regularly and consistently, it's something I actually need to do weekly. If I want to stay open for business, I need to be making sure that I am weekly getting bookings on my calendar. If you were working a traditional 9-to-5 job, let's just say, and your boss told you, hey, I need you to make sure that you book 2 parties every week, you would do it because that's your job. And sometimes it's easy to forget that we are the CEO of our own wax business. You are the CEO of your own wax business. And you don't have a boss. You have the autonomy and all the freedom and flexibility to do whatever you want and do it however you want. One thing that will probably serve you well is to remember that this business is flexible, especially bookings. When it comes to bookings, they're so flexible. But bookings aren't optional if you want to stay open for business. You can approach it any flexible way you want. It's flexible, not optional, if you want to stay open for business. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about how and all that good stuff in a minute. But I wanted to kind of talk about the different party types, because I know that I kind of say party out of habit just from my past experience and from the type of business we are. We are a party plan company. That is the the core business model of who Scentsy is. But times change, society change, culture changes. And I know that some people like to move away from the word party, which is totally fine. Personally, I tend to be more of an extroverted person. So I love when somebody says party, I'm all in, like sign me up. but some people don't love it. I think that some people have a negative connotation that this is, if you say party, that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm picturing my grandma's Tupperware party at her house. And we don't want people thinking of that, thinking of Scentsy in that light, right? So it's important for you to know that there are multiple party types. And we're just going to call them booking types for tonight, but I just want you to know I'm going to probably say party because it's just kind of habit. I'm going to try my best, but you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a Scentsy social. You can call it a scent event. You can call it a Scentsy gathering. You can call it whatever you want, but it's essentially gathering people together to get multiple orders for one event. It can be done, and this is why this is where the types come in. It can be done virtually, whether that's a text party, a Facebook party. It can be done on the go. That's more the basket parties or those bag parties. Or if you go to somebody's place of employment and just set up a display or some like testers and catalogs. But it can also be done in person. And in-person parties can be done traditionally around a coffee table in somebody's living room or in their dining room. But there's also multiple ways you can get together in person that don't involve a living room or a home. It could be at a restaurant. It could be at a coffee shop. It could be at the ballpark when your kids are playing a sport event. There's many, many ways to gather multiple orders for one event. So I would love to encourage you to keep an open mind for how you can gather multiple orders for one event. And let's talk about why these are so important. Bookings are important for quite a few reasons. Oh, I opened up the wrong sheet. Hold on one second. But the most important thing I want you to remember is that bookings are the lifeblood of your business. And what I mean by that is if you think about what keeps somebody alive, it's blood. I know it sounds kind of weird, maybe gory, but that's what keeps somebody alive. And if blood isn't flowing, that means it's dead. And you don't want a dead business. You want to keep your business not only growing and surviving, but thriving. And that's where bookings come in. First of all, bookings are going to help you. There's a few benefits to bookings, but first of all, they're going to help you meet new people, which is going to grow your network. It's so easy with a consumable product to get stuck in a rut of selling to the same people over and over and over. And we love and appreciate our loyal customers beyond measure, right? They're such a valuable asset to our business and to the company. However, there's only so much you can do if you're running in the same circles, right? Like running in the same circles is going to make you feel burnt out and exhausted. And guess what? It's also going to make the people that you're doing business with feel burnt out and exhausted. What's going to bring newness to your business and some excitement to your business is bringing new customers in, meeting new people, introducing people to Scentsy. That is a great way to grow your network and to grow your business. So that's a huge benefit to booking, because let's say Tracy books a party with me. Then once she invites her friends and family, those are people I didn't know. And if one of them books a party, now they opened up the network to their friends and coworkers and family, right? So it can keep branching out from there. And it's why it's so important to have that for your business, because it's going to keep your business growing and thriving. The second benefit is it helps you work smarter, not harder. Why? Simply because it's easier to sell to multiple people at one time than to try and track down or follow up with multiple people. I think that there's this idea and misconception that selling transactionally is what I like to call it on social media. Maybe you put up a post and you have 3 or 4 people that are interested, and there's this idea that that's going to be easier. And I don't really know where the idea came from, or where this notion came from. But if you think about it, yes, you're only posting once, but now you have 3 different people to follow up with. You have 3 different people to get their credit card information or send them your link or make sure they didn't want to bundle and save. You have all these different conversations that have to happen just to close an order. And it could be various people, various places, various stages, right? It's actually easier if you're on one Facebook party or in one texting party, or you're doing one event and everyone has already submitted their order right there on that one event. It really will help you feel like you're working smarter, not harder. And it's actually a lot easier to get orders that way than trying to follow up with and chase down and track down multiple people. So if you are in the business of being efficient, if you like the word efficiency, booking is for you because it's going to help you be more efficient in your business. I think that parties and anywhere you do your party type, it is the easiest place to get sales for exactly what I just mentioned. When you have multiple people gathered around, whether it's online or in person, excitement is contagious. So maybe you have Tracy getting super excited about Boo Crew, Warmer of the Month. And then Shelly wasn't even really that interested, but because Tracy's interested, now she's interested. And maybe they're posting about it and she's like, you know what, now that you say that, I kind of want it too. Or now that you say that, my mom collects ghosts for Halloween, I should get it for my mom. And it stirs up this different kind of excitement. Also, friends and family, they say like attracts like, right? So they're best at selling to their friends and family. So when you have all friends and family gathered, again, whether it's virtual or in person, they're able to sell to each other in a way that you as a consultant will not be able to, simply because you probably don't know them on the level that they all know each other, right? And because they're excited and passionate, it has a different social proof, which essentially means that it has a different influence when somebody says something about a product and they have nothing to gain from it. Of course, you as a consultant are only going to say amazing things about the product, right? But if you have multiple people gathered around being like, oh my gosh, I am in love with this scent, or oh my gosh, I've never seen Scentsy Air before, but this thing is phenomenal, and they're excited, they're actually going to be able to sell a little bit better to the crowd and to that circle of people than you would as a consultant, because of course you're only going to say great things about Scentsy Air. But if somebody who has nothing to gain from it is ranting and raving about it, it carries a different weight and a different level of influence. And so it helps you optimize sales when you gather people together, gather a network of people, a group of friends and family to shop together. Okay, so it's going to be the easiest place to get sales for you. It's also a great place to get bookings. Why? Well, if you're on a Facebook party, for example, and you see people talking about, oh my gosh, I love this, I just can't afford it right now, you are getting a front row seat to see, okay, this person can't afford it, but this is a great person to have a conversation with. You know what? If you host a party, if you do exactly what Tracy's doing tonight and having a party, you could get this for free and half price, or you could get this discounted, right? So it gives you a different eyes and ears that you wouldn't have if you're just posting on social media. If you're just sharing by, pushing it out there, you're not always seeing behind the scenes conversations like you would on a Facebook party when people are having more comments and conversational activity, or in an in-person party when there's more conversational activity going on. So it's a great place to get bookings. Not only for that aspect where you can share the booking opportunity with them, but also for them to see how fun and easy it is to host. It's really easy to get somebody that's at a party to say yes to doing their own party, when you can say, you see how easy and fun Tracy's party is tonight? Have you ever thought about doing this for yourself? It's easier to say yes because you can kind of look around and be like, yeah, this was a lot of fun. This did seem really easy. And I didn't get to buy everything on my wish list. So for sure, I would love to save and get some discounted. Way easier to get a yes there. And they kind of have an expectation of what to expect from a party. If they've been on a Facebook party and they can see what all it entailed, it's easier to say yes to that because they know what they're saying yes to. They know what the commitment is going to be to. It's also the best place to recruit. So if you're somebody that is interested in growing your team, bookings is a huge component of that, because you want to be bringing in recruits that have seen parties. And why? That's because, again, kind of like the booking aspect, if they can see that this was easy, this was fun, and this is something they could do in a fun and flexible way to earn extra income, or to earn product at a discount, or to grow their community and meet new people, make new friends, it's easier for them to say yes. They have an expectation also of what your job as a consultant entails. It's a little bit more of a challenge, and obviously this happens all the time, but it can be a little bit more of a challenge if you're just posting about the business opportunity. Let's say you're posting about the join promo and somebody wants it, they say yes, and they sign up, you're excited, and you're saying, okay, we want to hit Sensational Start because this is a great first new consultant award that you can aim for. And they're like, whoa, what is a party? And it's going to make them not as confident and comfortable if they're not familiar with what a party is, if they've never done a party or never even attended a party, right? However, recruits that came from parties, they know what to expect. They got a front row seat to see what this job entails, what it takes to be a Scentsy consultant. So they have different expectations when joining. And it's really is a great place if you're somebody that wants to be recruiting more. Bookings is a great place to be finding those next recruits. One thing I want to encourage you to remember is that if you want a consistent paycheck, a lot of people join Scentsy for the income. And if you're somebody that you would like to get that consistently, consistent parties are the key to a consistent paycheck. It really is just that simple. You want a paycheck consistently, you got to be partying consistently. So that's a huge benefit to booking parties and making sure that bookings are a part of your business. The next thing I want to make sure that we cover in booking is that mindset matters. And I know that sometimes it can feel like, oh yeah, I heard, like what you believe matters, or what, we kind of hear that lingo or that talk often, and it's easy to dismiss it. But I want you to remember the importance of belief and in what you personally believe. One thing that I've found highly fascinating is that in a lot of human psychology work, you can find, there's tons of science behind this. For the sake of time, we will not get into all the science, but you can look it up after this. But there's so much evidence that supports that what you believe, you will find evidence to support that belief. For example, if you believe it's really hard to book parties, you are hardwired as a human being to find evidence to support that belief. So you will find people telling you, no, I don't want to have a party, or not responding because you believe it's hard to book a party. But the opposite is true too. If you believe that you are a booking machine and everyone wants to have a party with you, guess what? You're going to find evidence to support that belief. You're going to find a lot more people that say, absolutely, I've been waiting for you to ask. Definitely, I'm so thankful that you asked me to have a party. So you will find evidence for whatever you believe. And that's so important to remember, honestly, for every aspect of the business, but especially for bookings, because we hear that all the time. We hear people say, I just can't book parties. No one wants to book a party. Everyone's too busy. Everyone's got a lot going on. The economy's low. There's all these reasons. And what you find is that you start forming these core beliefs around all of these negative things. And then guess what? As a human being, you will be hardwired to go out and find evidence to support that. And maybe it sounds a little hokey pokey, I don't know, but it is true. If you get yourself in the mindset of, I am a booking machine, everyone wants to have a party with me, you will find people that want to have parties with you. Not only that want to, but they're excited to, they're glad to, and they might be your next best host and your next best team member. You just never know. But I want to make sure we cover a couple things about, because I know we're humans. It can be hard to be positive or to think positively, especially if you've been having some setbacks or disappointments when it comes to booking. So just a couple tips I would tell you if you're somebody struggling with your mindset and you want to get a healthier mindset, there's a couple things you can do. First, identify what makes Scentsy gatherings so special. Like what makes Scentsy sentiments different? What sets them apart? Look at maybe our host rewards level and compare it to others. First of all, there's other companies that theirs are non-existing. Their consultants have to completely out of pocket pay for anything they want to give anyone that gathers people together to get orders. So that right there is a huge blessing for you guys as consultants. You're not paying anything out of pocket for host rewards, right? Scentsy covers that for you. It's part of our business model. But I think once you're able to identify, wow, yeah, it is really cool that my hosts can gather 7 to 10 people and have free product, half price product. They have these host perks, right? If they were to walk into a retail store, I won't name any retail store names, but there's a really popular one that's like a red circle. If they were to walk into that store with 7 to 10 of their closest friends and all of them ordered, let's just say $100, or they spent $100 shopping, Do you know what that company, that retail store is going to give that host for bringing her friends there to shop? Nothing. Nothing. Exactly. Exactly. I saw, is it Arvada? We said at the same time. We did this. Zero. Zip, zilch, nada. Nothing. They're not getting anything for getting their friends there together to shop. But with Scentsy, it's different. With Scentsy, when they gather their friends together to shop, they're rewarded for that. There's perks for that. And so when you call to mind these important things that set Scentsy apart, that make the host opportunity special, it's going to build your belief because you start to realize, wow, this actually is a really cool deal. This is a really cool setup for our host. So our hosts. So it's really important to identify what does make it special. Another thing you can do if you're struggling with mindset is to visualize success. Again, I hope this doesn't sound too hokey pokey, but back to human psychology. I've actually been on this podcast. I've been on a podcast binge about brain health, but in this brain health, there's a lot of psychology things I'm learning in it. And I've just found it really fascinating. Obviously, it has nothing to do with direct sales, selling, marketing, none of that. But it's really fascinating the different things that I can correlate between our business and this business model and human psychology. And one thing that's really true is that your brain is always working for you. Your brain doesn't miss a thing. It is always listening and is always seeing. So when you are visualizing success, you take a minute to visualize, what does my dream gathering look like? Does it look like 10 people gathered around a dining room table? Does it look like an amazing fundraiser? Like, what is my dream? And you take a minute to like close your eyes and think about it. Your brain will go to work trying to make that a reality for you. But you can't just do it one time and hope it happens. You need to continually make sure that you are being mindful of your mindset because it does matter. And if you take a moment to visualize what that could look like for you, what does your dream party look like? And you guys can even put that in the chat if you want. What does your dream party look like? And then not only like thinking about it, but speaking about it, which hold on, I gotta switch. Speaking about it, your brain will go to work making this a reality for you. Again, I know it sounds a little weird, but just try it. What do you have to lose, right? Just try it. There is so much science out there about what you speak out and the positive affirmations or having a positive mindset. So if you're somebody that again, somebody that's like, nobody wants to book a party, everyone's busy, nobody has time to do this. One thing that you can do is start speaking a positive statement. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be like what I said, I'm a booking machine. That's all it could be. Everyone wants to book a party with me. And one thing you'll find is it helps you reframe a negative thought because it's actually impossible for you to be thinking a negative thought while you're speaking a positive statement. When you are speaking something out, you can't be thinking, no, 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 no. You're thinking, this is what I like. You think what you say. So it's really important to be speaking out positive statements. And you might feel a little funny doing it at first, but maybe even just when you're driving, whenever you catch yourself having this negative notion of anything around booking, speak something positive, speak the opposite and speak something positive, and you will be surprised at how quick you're able to reframe that negative thought and get a hopeful attitude out of it. Okay, the next thing, last thing I would tell you is to spend time with people who are doing the things you want to be doing. If you are spending time with people that are affirming your negative belief, if you have, and maybe it might be your Scentsy bestie, and they're struggling to book parties, I'm not saying drop them like a hot potato. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're spending so much time with somebody being like, yeah, nobody books parties, nobody books parties, nobody books parties, you will end up joining in on that. They say misery loves company. And for some reason, when people are negative, it's more magnetic. And so you will be drawn to that and you will join in with their same thinking patterns, the same stinking thinking, right? So it's important that if you want to be booking parties, look for people that are booking parties. Look for people that have top PRV and ask them, are you doing parties? What are you doing to book parties? Because you'll find that you start becoming like the people you hang around and the people that you spend time with. So make sure you're intentional that you're not spending time with people that are negative or that you're limiting that time, but instead you're spending time with people that are doing the things that you want to be doing. Okay. Okay. So I want everyone to take a minute to put in the chat just a little pulse check, make sure nobody fall asleep on me. What do you believe about bookings? I want you to be completely vulnerable and honest with us. I want you to just put in the chat, when you think of bookings, do you think they are something that's for you, for your gain, for your business? Do you think it's something that's hard to do? What do you think when it comes to party? If I say the word bookings and I didn't give you any other context, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you? Ashley said, I believe I'm new and it's been a struggle. Oh, you believe and you're new. It's okay. Okay, that's really good to know. That's helpful. Victoria, I believe it's important. Becky said, bookings got harder after COVID. No one wants to do online parties anymore. I desperately want, hold on, it's moving up because I desperately want to do in-home parties again. Okay, that's good, Becky. Tracy said, I think I convinced myself it's hard to get them. However, when I make myself ask, I always get at least one. Yes, that's a very, very true thing. Susie says, time consuming for customers. Jackie said, I love to book a party and I get excited to share about our products with new people. Shelly said, it's a reason for my host to get together with her friends and family. Yes. Woo-hoo. Brittany, I love doing bookings. I don't know many people where I live now, but I want to get out of my comfort zone. That's great. Okay, somebody that's not listed, so it says iPhone. In-person bookings are important. True, that's great. Barry said, out of my comfort zone, but I believe it is important. Okay, so one thing I want to remind everyone is that your beliefs drive your behavior. So if you believe getting in-person parties is hard, your behavior will match that belief. You're going to find that you are hesitant, reluctant, or non-existent to share about home parties if you believe that's hard to do. Another thing, so let me pick another one, for example. Hold on. Okay, so for example, Jackie said, I get excited to share about our new products. I love to book a party. I get excited to share about new products. Guess what? Jackie's behavior is going to match that. When Jackie goes to book a party, she's going to be excited to book a party because she's excited to share new products and to meet new people. Okay, so I hope you guys can see the comparison there of how your behavior will, or your beliefs drive your behavior. So again, this kind of comes back to that mindset piece. This is why it's so important to make sure that your mindset is in the right place, because your behavior is going to align with it. Oh, Eileen said, wait, hold on. I don't know if this is new or not because I got so many in a row. I'm not sure if this had to do. Okay, Eileen's said, and I just lost it because everyone commenting. Oh my gosh, I lost it. Eileen, I did see yours. It's gone now. What the heck? Okay, I'm not seeing. Oh, here it is. Booking blitzes work because if you come with a list and you actually start asking, you will get some yeses. 100%. That is always true. Always true. Okay, so let me kind of move on, but I just really hope I've kind of driven home the point that your mindset matters and your mindset is going to drive that behavior. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to get my mindset in the right place and I want my behaviors to align with the beliefs that I have, but how do I get bookings? Like, how do I actually do that? One thing that's always important to remember is that if you want bookings, you must work for them. I would love to tell you that bookings magically like show up in front of you, or they just drop in your lap, or they come knocking down your door. But that doesn't happen in this business typically. You might randomly, spontaneously get a friend or a family member, somebody reaching out saying, hey, I'd love to do a party. And when that happens, oh, it's the best feeling ever. But that's not something you can count on to happen for your business. Something you can count on is your consistent effort to book parties. If you can commit to consistently booking parties, you can commit to consistently holding parties, which means you can consistently commit to growth in your business, right? So it's important that you know that the way to get bookings is done through you. You can't rely on even just posting out there to get bookings. It has to be done through one-on-one, which I'm going to get to that in a minute. But before I give you the kind of the how or the framework for how to get bookings, there is a little bit of pre-work that I think will set you up for success when it comes to booking parties. And that is identifying ahead of time your booking date availability. And we're going to talk about this more in a minute, but just so you know, a pre-work is to grab your calendar and identify when you are available for a scent event or a gathering. When can you do that? And if it's maybe it's oh, hold on.
Okay, clean my shirt since your fucking dad didn't do it, so I'm cleaning my shirt.
I think someone is unmuted, but they don't realize they're unmuted.
Get my way.
Shalita, can you please mute yourself? We've been trying to chat and have you mute yourself. You keep coming on the screen and it's a little distracting. Can you hit mute, please? Thanks, Shalita.
I don't know if she heard. Maybe. Okay. Sorry, no, I couldn't see who it was. Okay. So what's not only helpful is to identify what dates. And so, for example, if you're somebody that you know you want to do Facebook parties and maybe you do your Facebook parties for 3 days, identify what are those 3 days and how often can you do them monthly. Keep your goals in mind. If you're somebody aiming for incentive right now and you know that you need 5 gatherings every month, or maybe you want to do 3 gatherings and a fundraiser, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you're actually planning for that you actually have time and availability on your calendar for that. And a little pro tip is that you always want to plan for 2 more than you want to hold. So if you want to hold 4 parties, you want to have availability for 6. And that's just simply because you want to be able to fill all 6. You want to book 6 so you can hold at least 4. That gives you a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of a safety net, especially if you're aiming for a specific thing like incentive earning or a certain goal, whatever it is. If you have a host that cancels or reschedules, or maybe you just had a party that just didn't work out. Sometimes the timing doesn't work or the host gets too busy, and that happens. That's just life. That's honestly just part of the business, and that's okay. That happens. But if you plan for that and a lot for that, you are going to be in a much happier, much better position when you planned for it. When you planned, okay, I booked 6, but I'm going to hold 4. So whatever your number is, let's say, and actually put in the chat, how many parties do you want to hold, not book, how many parties do you want to hold for September? Put that in the chat. And then whatever that number is, so Anita said 3, Terry said 4, Tracy said 4, whatever that number is, add 2. That's how many you need to actually book. You need to book 6 if you want to hold 4. If you want, and Ashley said 2, so she needs to book 4. Okay, that is just a pro tip in general to remember. Susie said 7, so she wants to book 9 parties. That gives you so much wiggle room, and trust me on this, you will be so happy you did that. Worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, everybody holds their party and then you have more than you need, right? That's a really good problem to have. That actually primes you to be in a position where you can party flip, you can get your hosts to join, and then you're actually bringing on a new team member. It puts you in a really solid position in the business. So it's a great problem to have, and it's a great just habit to be in as a business owner, to have 2 more than you actually want to hold. Okay, so that's the pre-work. So let's get to how do you book parties. Okay, the Scentsy sales framework is the how. This is how you book parties. If you've never seen the Scentsy sales framework, will you tell me in the chat? And if you're familiar with the Scentsy sales framework, will you also put that in the chat? I would love to know, just to gauge. How many of you are familiar with this? How many have never seen this ever in your life? I would love to see. Ashley, not familiar. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Not familiar. Becky's seen. So we did talk about this at World Tour. So if you went to World Tour, you might be a little bit familiar with it. Oh my gosh, my mouse is like being wonky. You might be a little bit familiar with this, or might have seen it. And maybe you've seen it before, but you've never really realized what it is. So that's okay. We're going to walk through this. One thing that's important to realize, or one thing I love to call out about the framework, is how it is the fuel that keeps your Scentsy engine running. So there's a lot of times we'll get questions on, what do I do to be successful? What do I do to promote? What do I do to book a party? What do I do for this? And there's all kinds of answers to the what, right? But when it comes to the how, whether you want to recruit, whether you want to promote people on your team, whether you want to book parties, the how always comes back to these 3 components. So it's very important to understand them. Number 1 is prospect, and that's picking people, finding people, identifying people. Sharing is sharing with them whatever you want to share with them, talking to them about whatever it is, business opportunity or business category that you are wanting to talk more about or share with them. And then following up, which we hear this all the time, that the fortune is in the follow-up, and that couldn't be more true. And it's why us at Home Office, we've invested so much time and energy and effort into the Scentsy Connect app, because we know and we see the value and the potential in following up. We know how much it impacts business. And so it's a key component to how you can be successful in this business, and how you can keep it's the fuel to the engine, how you can keep your business running, right? So we're going to go through each one really quick. And I want you to think, because I know I said every aspect. So for example, if you're aiming to earn incentive, which obviously this call is not about, but let's just say you're trying to help somebody promote on your team. You would first prospect within your team who on your team is a great candidate to be promoting, right? So you prospect within your team, and then you share with that person on your team, and then you keep following up. You build a relationship and have accountability with that person on your team. That's how you help them promote. With recruiting, same thing. You find people that you would love to share the business opportunity with. Once you identify them, you share it with them. Once you've shared it with them, you follow up with them. So I hope you can kind of see that this is like a continuous cycle, almost like a little, what is it called? A Venn diagram. It's almost like that. And sometimes when you're following up with people, you might be following up with a customer, but while you're following up with them, you're prospecting also for your next party. So sometimes it kind of can run together. But these 3 things, it's so simple, but so significant to keeping your business running. So it's a very important tool that you can use for your business, very important components. So let's first chat about prospects. So prospecting is identifying people that you want to have a party with, right? These are people that you might be picking just from, maybe you want to go through people you know, you kind of want to use that Frank's list, friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids connections, spouses connections. That's your Frank's list. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe you're looking at past customers, past hosts. There's different ways you can prospect, different pools of people you can kind of look through to identify who. But one thing that's really important is to put together a list. Put together a list of those prospects, the people that you want to invite to have a party with you, right? Another thing I would encourage you to do when prospecting specifically for bookings is right next to their name, the party type that you think would suit them best. So for example, if I'm in Idaho and I want to do a party with somebody in Chicago, let's just say, I'm not going to put home party or in-person party next to that person, right? I know that this is somebody I need to do a virtual party with. So that's just going to kind of help you with when we get to share, but it's just a little pro tip when you're prospecting is take a minute to write next to them what kind of party type you want to offer. You might be somebody that says, I'm only an in-person party person. I only want to do in-person parties. Okay, then you don't even need to make sure you're writing next to them. You're prospecting for local people that you can invite to have an in-person party. Same goes for virtual parties. Maybe you're somebody that only has availability to do it virtually via Facebook or via text, however you decide to do your virtual parties. Then maybe you don't need to write down next to them if that's the only party type you're going to offer. But if you're somebody that you take an all of the above approach to bookings and you like to offer different party types, take a minute to think about this person. Where are they locally? Like, are they local? Are they far away? Like, where are they? And could they do a virtual party, or is this somebody that actually might be a better candidate for a fundraiser? Is this somebody that would be great for an on-the-go party? Maybe this is somebody that is very busy, but they work at a hospital, for example. They work with a ton of people. Where they go to business or go to work is a business with 500 employees. They'd be a great on-the-go party host, right? So just take a minute to write that down next to them, because that will come in handy for the next step, which is share. So once you have a list of people that you want to invite to have a party with, it's time to share about it. And sharing is done in multiple ways. But the best way to share is one-on-one personal invitation. A one-on-one personal connection is always more effective. And if you don't believe me, try it. Go and post a booking post every week and see how many parties you get from it. And then I want you to send a personal message every day and see how many bookings you get from doing that. You will find it is way more effective to personally one-on-one have a conversation and ask somebody than just sharing on social media. And that might be some bad news for some of you, because some of you might be thinking, gosh, like I've just wanted to put out there the host rewards chart and have somebody say, sign me up, I want to do that. It might be a little like discouraging if you're like, oh, that's not going to get me any bookings. Not that it's not going to get you any bookings, but it's going to get you far fewer than if you spent that time and energy posting on social, coming up with a good picture, coming up with a good caption. If you just took the time to actually personally reach out to people, you'll book more parties. So it kind of is up to you. Do you feel like booking more parties or do you feel like just putting it out there, being a little bit more passive with booking? That's totally up to you. There are lots of marketing tactics that you can do when it comes to publicly sharing. Not that you never want to not publicly share about hosting, but you want to do it in the right way. And the right way to publicly market, or just maybe even a couple principles for sharing, is to first make it all about them. Not, look what I just did. I just had a party and here is my host and here was my setup at the party. That's not really like, oh, cool. So you went somewhere and set up your products, right? That doesn't really seem enticing to book a party. But if you say something like, check out this loot of products. My last host just got all of this for free and these 2 items for half price. That's a lot more enticing because they're seeing all that they can get by hosting a party with you. So remember to keep it all about the value, the features, and the benefits that's in it for them, not what you're doing, not what you have available. Another thing to remember is that most people don't know what PRV is. So if you say something like, hey, just 200 PRV gets you this much in free product, they don't know what that means, right? So you can say, keep it simple and say, did you know that when you gather 2 to 3 orders, this is what you could get for free as a host? Things like that. Show them what's in it for them and what it takes to get that for them. It kind of sets that expectation, but it's keeping it all about what's in it for them. I've never been a fan, and I just don't personally recommend any kind of verbiage or marketing that says like, I'm earning a free trip to this place. Help me get there. This is all the points I need left, or like a countdown of points. I just think that it feels like this is what's in it for me. This is what I'm trying to get. Help me get what I want. It doesn't feel good, and it's actually a poor marketing strategy. It doesn't work well for enticing others to have a party with you. And I don't know if anyone on here, I don't know if any of you have done that. I'm just personally speaking from experience. I find it more effective to book parties and to market when you make it all about what's in it for somebody else, not what's in it for you. So please don't feel like I'm stepping on your toes if that's something you've done in the past or you do currently. And then another little pro tip for sharing is, remember I said the pre-work is to have your availability already pre-selected. When you share and you invite somebody to have a party with you, you want to give them specific dates to choose from. And this right here is like a little golden nugget for getting a yes to a booking or getting a specific date set for a booking. And here's why. If I said to you, hey, Shelly, would you love to have a party in September? Let's just say, and she said, yes. And I say, okay, when works for you in September? Guess what Shelly's going to do? Shelly's going to grab her September calendar. Maybe she's going to grab her phone. She's going to open her calendar in September. And you know what she's going to see? She's going to see that she has something every day of the week in September. She's way too busy in September, right? But instead, if I said, Shelly, I would love for you to be one of my next hosts. I'm so excited to hook you up with some freebies. Would you be able to do September 14th or September 22nd? Guess what Shelly's going to do? Instead of looking at everything in September and realizing how overwhelmed and busy she is, she's going to look at 2 specific dates. And it's more likely that she's able to wiggle something into one of those 2 dates than if you just give her everything to choose from. it actually overwhelms them when they have too much to choose from. But if I said, could you do the 14th or the 22nd? It's more likely that if she's unavailable on those 2 days, that she's going to pick another weekend date and say, shoot, I actually have this the 14th, I have this the 22nd. What if we do this the 29th? Yeah, absolutely. Sure. We can totally do that. Or, you can kind of work what if based on your availability. But giving specific dates is a huge, huge way to get a specific date booked. Otherwise, you'll have them say, yeah, let me find a day and I'll get back to you. Or, well, I'm going to see what works and talk to my husband and I'll get back to you, because they're overwhelmed. They just are kind of like, oh, there's too much going on. I don't know what to say. I did say yes to having a party, but now that I look at my calendar, I'm too busy and I can't commit to a date. So if you want a date commitment, make sure that you're giving them specific dates. And then that party type. So when I said write down a party type that you want to offer them for their party. So if it's somebody that is maybe not local, you can offer them, hey, I know that you're in Chicago and I'm in Idaho. I have a fun way that we can virtually gather your friends together to shop and you can get some freebies and discounts. Is this something you'd be interested in? So you can still offer them the same exact rewards, and they don't have to be local, but you're also kind of setting the bar and setting the expectation for what party type that you're offering them. The more specific and clear you are about what you're offering, the easier of a yes it is for them to give you. If it's too vague and they're not quite sure, and it's like, well, wait, is this in person? Like, are we getting together at my house? Am I coming to your house? Like, what is this? If it's vague or not clear, it's harder to get a yes. Okay. The other thing when it comes to your wording, one thing that we love at Scentsy is the ask method. The ask method stands for authentic voice. Use your own wording. Use words you would actually say. If you never use Scent-Event or you've never said Scent-Event, don't say Scent-Event in your wording because it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel like you. Use words in the way that you would actually talk to people. The S stands for short and sweet. Remember that these days humans have like this big of an attention span. Like it's an itty bitty attention span. And if you make it too long, first of all, they're just going to skim. They're not going to read it anyways. Second of all, it almost makes it sound like it's too good to be true. If you sit there and you are oversharing all of the perks and benefits to having a party and everything they get and all they have to do to have a party, it's like, whoa, like that's too overwhelming, and an overwhelmed mind will shut down and say no. So make sure you're not oversharing. You're just keeping it short and sweet. And then the K stands for keeping it personal. Keeping it personal really means that you are keeping it specific and personal to that person. So if I know that you are a teacher or you work at a hospital, for example, I'm going to reach out and talk about that. Hey, I know that you work 12-hour shifts at the hospital. I would love to spoil you and your friends with a fun girls' night out, Scentsy style, where I can hook you up with free and have priced products. Have you ever considered having a Scentsy party? That keeps it very specific to her. It's not a, hey girl, message that is completely copy and pasted. I actually just today got a Facebook message from somebody, and it was even a voice message, but I can tell 100% it was just copy and pasted. So make sure that you're keeping it personal, that they can tell you are specifically reaching out to them. That is more likely to evoke a response when they can tell it's personalized to them than if it's like, oh, this is just one of those copy and paste messages. And just really quick, something to, I just want to call out. I know we call this the ask method, but I want you to remember that you are not asking somebody to do something for you. You're inviting them to save money, to get products for free and half price. You are offering them an opportunity to have a fun gathering. And I think that's important because there's a difference in your approach when you feel like you're asking somebody for something and when you feel like you're sharing, inviting, and offering something to someone. Okay, so there's a huge difference there, and I want you to notice that. Ask method is really just for the wording, but you're not asking anybody to do anything. You're inviting them. You're offering them an opportunity. Okay, there's a big difference. A template that I've used for years that has worked so well because it kind of stays in line with that, the ask method is, if I blank, will you blank? And this helps you keep it short, direct, and to the point. So you could say, hey, if I bring Scentsy testers and all of the new fall goodness to your work, will you collect orders to earn free and half price products? And I know we've heard Orville talk about arrows out. It's all about what's in it for them. Hey, if I could do this for you, like how can I do something for you so you can get this? It's all about that. It's all about, if I did this for you, if I set up a virtual party next month, would you want to be my next host to get some free product? Would you want to be, a host in October so you can help your friends get their holiday shopping done with brownies with you? That there's so many ways you can position it, but it's all about them. What's in it for them? What you're going to do for them and how they're going to benefit from that. Okay. So this is a great little template to use if you're like, I'm not really sure what to say. Okay. So the last little component of our sales framework is follow up. And I know I said it a minute ago and I'm going to say it again, but the fortune is in the follow-up. You would not believe how many people ask someone to book a party and never talk to them again. It's really important to remember that not everyone's going to be willing or in a position or in a time where they can say yes as soon as you ask them. They just aren't. Like, that's just life. People have their own things going on, and not everyone's going to be able to say yes. But it's important that you take a minute, or you have it in your habits and a business practice to say, oh, no problem. I totally understand. My life is crazy and hectic right now as well. So I understand. Would it be okay if I reach out to you when we launch our next catalog? Ask permission to reach out again. More often than not, they're going to say, sure. They're going to say, yeah, absolutely. And a no, not right now is not a no, never. So they might say, no, not right now. You know what? I have too much going on. I just signed up as the PTA president, cannot take on anything else. Check with me in the spring, right? So just because it's a no, not right now, doesn't mean it's a no, never. Like never, ever, I'm never going to have a party with you. Another thing to keep in mind, especially if you're trying to hit some PRV goals, is if they say no to having a party, invite them to be a guest on a different party. Maybe you have an open house. Maybe you're doing like a fall launch party. Invite them to attend that, because not every party, not everyone is going to be a party haver, but they could still be a party goer. There's lots of people out there that will definitely still shop with you, and they want to shop with you. They love the new line. They're excited about the new line, but they just aren't in a position to have a party right now. They're not in a position, timing season, something might not be aligned for them to have a party. Don't dismiss that. That's still not an opportunity for you. And a lot of times, again, the human psychology, people don't like to say no 2 times in a row. So if they say no to having a party, a lot of times they'll say yes to being a guest at your fall launch event, or maybe you're doing like a boo bash in October, whatever it is. You want to make sure you're still inviting them to participate in your business in some form or fashion if they're not able to have a party right now. That's going to kind of keep the connection open with you and them, and it's going to help you bring in business in the meantime. Okay. A couple pro tips for follow-up. First of all, have a system in place for the people you need to follow up with. When I say system, it does not need to be anything fancy. It does not have to be an Excel sheet. If that's you, if you're an Excel lover, go for it. Do it. Do all the columns, the color coding. That's my daughter. My daughter's in her sophomore year in college, and she just sent me a picture. We were on FaceTime last night, and she's like, this is my task list. And she has this whole color coded, I don't even know how she did it, check boxes in these Excel, a whole beautiful spreadsheet layout. I was highly impressed. But that's not me. I would never be the kind of person to do something like that. So find what works for you. When I say system, it could be a pen and paper with a list of names, but make a list of people you need to follow up with. And then part of your system should be when you're going to follow up. So if I have a list of everyone I'm going to reach out to book a party, I'll have next to it a list of everyone that isn't available right now or didn't respond. Sometimes people, life's life, they open up your message, get distracted, can't respond right away, don't respond right away. That's okay. Have a list of people that you need to follow up with and when you're going to. If it's somebody that never responded, a week later is ample time to just say, hey, want to double check and see if you saw my message. My October dates are filling up and I want to make sure I save a date for you. Really quick and easy things to say. It doesn't have to be like, hey, did you see my message? Like, just quick little things. But making sure when you're going to follow up. So anyone that didn't respond, a week later. Anyone that said, oh, it's just not a good time, Okay, can I follow up with you when we launch our next catalog in March? Absolutely. I'm going to put on there March. Now, when it's a date far out like that, again, part of your system should be, how are you going to remember? I would put a alert or a reminder, something in your calendar, so you know when it's time to follow up with this person. Okay. It's a really important component of following up. Definitely, I want to put a huge plug in here for the Scentsy Connect app, because if you're somebody that hasn't followed up or don't have a follow-up system, the Scentsy Connect app will be a huge benefit to you because it gives you some prompts on when to follow up with customers. Following up with those customers is also a great time to reach out about booking their own party. Okay, I'm trying to hurry because I know we're right at time. Okay, this is really big for follow-up. When you are following up, avoid the F word when you are following up. Okay. I don't want you to use the word follow up when you're following up. And the reason because of that is when you say follow up, that triggers sales terminology. So if I reached out to you and I said, hey, Shelly, just following up with you, guess what that does? It immediately puts up a wall that this person's trying to sell to me. So make sure at all costs that you are avoiding the F word during follow up. So instead you're saying something like, hey, Shelly, I know that I talked to you last month. I haven't talked to you since last month, or whatever you're saying, but just say don't say it. Just following up with you, checking up with anyone I needed to follow up with, following up with people on my list. That's so salesy and it turns people off. So find a way, whatever your verbiage or your wording is, find a way to avoid follow up in your follow up wording. Okay. I think I had one more tip for follow up. Let me see. I start talking and then I forget to check my notes. I think that was it. Okay, that was it. Okay, two things really quick. If you're like, I'm starting from scratch, don't have a network, maybe you're brand new to your area, maybe you're a military spouse and you're brand new living somewhere, whatever it is, there's two great things I'd recommend to you if you are trying to get bookings and you're starting from ground zero. Number one is host an open house. It can be virtual, where you're just doing like a scent event launch party for fall, or it could be in person where you're gathering people together at your house to smell all the new things. But having your own party is not only going to be a great way for you to get some PRV, but it's a great place for you to get some bookings for the fall. Okay, so that's a good place. Basically being your own best host. The second thing is a Google form. You could do a quick little survey. Hey, sending out a fall customer survey to anyone that wants a catalog. And in that survey, you ask them, would you be interested in having a party in September, October, or November? Follow up with those people. Anyone that marks any of those boxes, follow up with them and say, hey, I'm going to be putting a catalog in the mail to you, but I saw you want to have a party in October. I would love to just send you an entire party packet while I'm at it. Let's get your party on the calendar. Okay. So there's a couple ways there. There's lots of different ways actually that you could start from scratch, but I want you to remember that it really just takes one party to get your business rolling, and you could be your own best host. So start there. Okay. I'm trying to see, because I know we're right at time. Okay. A couple best practices. Again, I know I'm going to hurry up. Okay. The dentist policy. The dentist policy is essentially, you know how when you go to the dentist and before you leave, they book your next 6-month appointment? Do the same thing with your business. Whenever you do have a party, book it with that host for the next catalog in the next 6 months. Don't leave that party until you've booked your next party with them in the next 6 months. It's the dentist policy and it works, and it's a great way to ensure that you have always business going. Think about this. If you, for the next 3 months, got every host in September, October, and November to book 6 months out, for March, April, and May, you already have all your March, April, and May booked. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. It really helped me in business, so I really hope that helps you. It's a game changer if you can get all your hosts to rebook for 6 months out with the next catalog. Another thing, just best practice, is try to aim to never close a party without a booking attached to it. This just kind of keeps you in that habit of booking parties. And so if you are going to close a party, make sure either a customer on that party is booking a party, and if none of them are, start ask all your networks, ask past customers, past hosts. Just make it a habit of, when I close the party, I need another booking to replace it. Okay. So just, again, keeps you in business, keeps your business thriving. One last best practice I want to make sure I tell you is that it's really great to be pleasantly persistent in this business, to make sure you're following up and checking in with people, but also graciously accept a no. If you can tell somebody is just not having it, they're not into it, don't give yourself a bad name. Don't give Scentsy a bad reputation. It's okay if it's not for everyone. That's just how it is. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. So pleasantly persist, but also graciously accept a no. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. So I'm gonna stop screen share and open it up to you guys for questions and answers. 'Cause I know we're like now a couple minutes over. Oh, so sorry. I know I went not way over, but I went
Thank you
over.
so much. That was great. My arm is like falling off from taking all the notes. I absolutely love this. It
Okay,
was
good.
really
That makes me
helpful
feel
to
good.
have all this great information.
No, that's so good. I always, booking, I feel like is something that's such a part of the business that I feel like I don't ever want it to be a tired aspect of the business where people get, like, oh, I've already heard about it. So I always want to bring like fresh and fun and innovative ideas. But that can be a challenge, especially when you have amazing SSDs like you guys that have done this for years and years. It can be a challenge to think of something new to share with you guys.
Oh no, it's all so great. We all need this reminder and so much good stuff. So thank you so much for taking time, out of your evening, and everybody that joined us live. We are so happy that you were with us. We really appreciate you making time for your business to show up and support this. I know, and there will be a recording. So if you didn't get all the notes or you joined us a little late, we will share that recording tomorrow. Thank you so much. I
Bye,
appreciate it.
everyone.
Bye. Have a good evening.